The sterile lights of the Genesis station flickered as Dr. Alex Chen reviewed the genetic sequencing data for the 100th time. His hands trembled slightly as he held the datapad, not from fear, but from the weight of what he discovered. Subject 7L, known to the staff as Lisa, shouldn't exist. More accurately, she shouldn't be possible. "You're staring at those numbers again," came a voice from behind him. Alex turned to find Commander Sarah Reeves, the station's military liaison, leaning against the doorframe of his lab. "Because these numbers don't make sense," Alex replied, gesturing at the holographic display that materialized above his desk. "The genetic modifications we approved for the Genesis program were supposed to enhance human adaptability for deep space colonization, better radiation resistance, improved calcium retention in zero-G, enhanced vitamin synthesis. Standard stuff." "But," Sarah prompted, stepping closer. "But Lisa's genome, it's rewritten itself. The modifications we introduced 20 years ago were just the spark. Her DNA has been actively evolving, incorporating beneficial mutations at a rate that should be impossible. She's not just adapted to space, she's transcended the baseline human template entirely." Sarah's expression hardened. The Galactic Council specifically forbade genetic enhancement beyond Category 3 adaptations. They've made it very clear that humanity's admission to the greater galactic community depends on our compliance. Alex knew this well. After first contact 15 years ago, humanity had learned they were the newest and most closely watched species in a galaxy teeming with ancient civilizations. The Council, a coalition of elder races, had established strict protocols. Species that enhanced themselves beyond natural evolution were classified as existential threats and quarantined, sometimes permanently. "I know," Alex said quietly. "That's why the Genesis program was shut down. That's why the other subjects were neutralized." "Then you know what needs to happen." Alex met her eyes. "She's not a weapon, Sarah. She's a person. A brilliant, kind person who happens to have abilities we don't fully understand. That's precisely what makes her dangerous." In her quarters 3 levels below, Lisa floated in the meditation chamber, her body suspended in the gentle, artificial gravity field. She'd always found peace here, away from the concerned glances and hushed conversations that seemed to follow her everywhere on the station. At 20 years old, Lisa had never known Earth. She'd been born here on Genesis Station, the last of the enhanced children. The others had died in the early years, complications from the aggressive gene therapies they'd told her. She'd been the only success. Or the only mistake, depending on who you asked. She opened her eyes and the room brightened in response. Not because she'd triggered a sensor, but because the lights responded to her bioelectric field. It had started small, electronic devices behaving strangely around her, computers processing faster when she concentrated on them. But lately, the connection had deepened. She could feel the station systems like extensions of her own nervous system. The life support cycling air through the ventilation, the fusion reactor's controlled burn in the core, the quantum communication array reaching out to distant worlds. All of it hummed in the back of her consciousness like a second heartbeat. Lisa had tried to hide it. She'd learned early that being different made people afraid and fear made them dangerous. But Alex had noticed. He always noticed. A soft chime announced a visitor. Lisa lowered herself to the floor as the door slid open, revealing Alex's concerned face. "We need to talk," he said. "They want to terminate you," Alex said bluntly once they were alone in his lab. "Not officially, of course. There will be an accident, a tragic malfunction. They've done it before." Lisa had suspected this for weeks, ever since the Council's inspection team had visited the station. Their multifaceted eyes had lingered on her with what she could only describe as recognition and revulsion. "The Zephrati delegate pulled me aside," Alex continued. "She said something strange. She told me that what you represent is the Council's greatest fear, a young species breaking containment, ascending too quickly. What does that mean? I've been researching the Council's history, the classified stuff they don't share with new member species. There's a pattern. Any civilization that develops certain capabilities before reaching what they call collective maturity gets pruned. Sometimes entire worlds are sterilized. Lisa felt her pulse quicken, and the lights in the lab flickered in response. What capabilities? Integration with technology beyond simple interfacing. The ability to process quantum information organically. Consciousness that can exist independent of biology. Alex paused. You're developing all three, aren't you? She nodded slowly. I didn't ask for this. I know, you were born into it. A mistake in the genetic code that somehow became something extraordinary. Alex pulled up a star chart. There's an alternative, a way out. The chart showed a region of space marked in red. The terminus expanse, an area of stellar nurseries and dense nebulae that interfered with long-range sensors. There are humans out there, communities that left Earth before first contact, before the Council's restrictions. They're not bound by the same rules. Some of them have continued genetic research, pushed the boundaries of what it means to be human. You want me to run? I want you to live. And more than that, I want you to reach your potential without the Council's boot on your neck. Alex's voice grew passionate. Humanity made a mistake joining the Council so quickly. We gave up our sovereignty, our right to evolve as we choose, all for access to their technology and trade routes. But what good is survival if we're frozen in place, never allowed to grow? Lisa felt the weight of the decision before her. Stay and die, or flee and live as a fugitive, forever looking over her shoulder. There's more, Alex said. I've made contact with a group called the Ascendancy. They're humans who believe we were meant for more than the Council allows. They've been developing something, a network of enhanced individuals, each with different capabilities, working together. They think you could be the key to something revolutionary. What kind of revolutionary? The kind that scares ancient empires. Alex smiled grimly. The Council has maintained order for 10,000 years by keeping younger species weak and dependent. But they've never encountered a species quite like humanity, adaptable, stubborn, creative. And they've certainly never encountered someone like you. The implications settled over Liza like a heavy cloak. She thought of all the humans living under the Council's restrictions, their potential stunted, their evolution controlled by beings who viewed them as children at best, threats at worst. When do I leave? She asked. 3 days later, a small transport departed Genesis Station on what the logs reported as a routine supply run to the outer mining colonies. Commander Reeves watched it go from the observation deck, her expression unreadable. Should we pursue? Her second-in-command asked. No, she said quietly, let it go. But the Council can handle their own dirty work. Sarah turned away from the viewport. I've spent my career following orders, maintaining the peace, keeping humanity in line with galactic law. But I've also studied history, real history. Every great civilization had to break someone else's rules to rise. In the transport's cargo hold, Lisa sat across from Alex, feeling the vast darkness of space around them. For the first time in her life, she wasn't afraid of what she was becoming. Instead, she felt something new. Purpose. Her neural implants were already reaching out, making contact with the Ascendancy's network. Hundreds of minds touched hers, enhanced humans scattered across the frontier, each one a small rebellion against the Council's control. Welcome, came the chorus of voices. Welcome to the future they tried to deny us. Lisa closed her eyes and let her consciousness expand. She could feel the quantum foam underlying reality, the information substrate that connected all things. The Council saw this ability as a threat because they understood what it meant. The end of their monopoly on advanced consciousness, the dawn of something they couldn't control. They'd called her a mistake. Perhaps she was. But sometimes mistakes were exactly what the universe needed: glitches in the program, mutations in the code, the chaos that drove evolution forward. As the transport jumped to faster-than-light speed, leaving Council space behind, Lisa smiled. She'd been born a mistake, gifted beyond limits, and her acceptance of what she was had indeed become a galactic threat. The only question now was whether the galaxy was ready for what came next.